Hey, it's 11 o'clock on Wednesday. We got a full show coming up for you. You on the Fighter Share Report Live. This is where you need to be, baby. This is exactly where you need to be. Got my partner in the house, getting ready to hit the introduction. What's going on, bro?
Man, I can't call it brothers hump day. You know, got some interesting things going on, man. I'm glad to be here with you on this Wednesday. It's a little chilly outside by our standards, a little overcast. We're gonna make it do what it do. We're gonna heat it up in here. They know why
It's
they're here, bro.
it's beautiful outside. Yo, Craig, this is like the best weather. I'm just telling you, it's like the best weather. Got my new wall behind me. Listen, we're trying to
Looks
grow.
the wall looks cold too.
It, that's because you can't see the warmth within. You're only looking at the surface.
That's
That's the
good.
problem.
Indeed. That could be it. That could truly be it.
Wow. All right, let's hit it, get it. Got a good show for y'all.
We see the work that you put in. We see you training. We know the effort that it takes. We see your sacrifice. We know fighters, and we are the show that the fighters watch. Welcome to the Fighters Share Report.
Hey, and next Sunday, y'all don't want to miss next Sunday because we got a brand new intro that we're going to be debuting next Sunday morning at 11:30 on the Fighter Share Report. Man, okay, so UFC Fight Island 7 this Saturday, January 16th, 2021. But the main card starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Prelims start at noon. Don't get caught up like I did in that last fight, the Garcia fight.
Yeah, you thought. Yeah,
At night, and you're like, her? My
yeah.
mom's calling me talking about what a fight. I'm like, what do you mean what a fight? So yeah, we're putting it out there so you all know what time to tune in. Hey, looking at the main event for that fight is that's gonna be a good one. We got Max Blessed Holloway heading up that fight. Um, and let's get back to it
Against Calvin Cater.
against Calvin Cater. Yes.
Yeah, bro. I'm looking forward to that fight. Listen, Max has a lot to prove. Max has a lot to prove. He has to come back and show that, he is the guy that we thought he was before his last defeat. Calvin Cater, though, you know what? He reminds me of, I don't want to say reminds me of Blachowicz,
Mm-hmm.
but Calvin Cater is very deliberate. Like when you watch him fight, he's coming forward. He's not wasting a lot of punches. He's trying to inflict damage. I watched him a couple times, bro. I like the way Cater fights. This is going to be a tougher fight, I think, than most people think for Max Holloway. Holloway, is he the favorite going? I think he is. Do you have that information
He
handy?
is the favorite, but you got a lot of the pundits who are picking Cater in this
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's that kind of fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I mean, usually we know what to expect out of Max Holloway because Max was so dominant for so long,
So long.
and now you've got him heading up this card, and people on the fence. I mean, people who are calling the fights are on the fence. People
Right.
who who are within the confines of the organization are on the fence. Um, there's no clear cut winner in this one going into the fight, and we always know there never really is. But
Right.
typically, people have ideas on who they think are the clear cut winners. There is no clear cut winner being called by a lot of these reporters going into this fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hey, way down the card is still on the main card. Matt Brown versus Carlos Condit. the natural born killer, Carlos Condit. I thought about this fight simply because I remember Carlos Condit when he came in from WEC, and it was one of those like, wow, very good, very good fighter. But to see him in his most recent fights, bro, it's like, what's going on? I mean, he's like still. I don't want to say hanging around, but it's kind of fair to say hanging around. But there's still something there. I guess that's why I'm really interested in watching this fight.
Well, I mean, not only is he a name, he's been around a long time, but he's a real fighter. And it kind of reminds us of who did we just talk about? This same thing happening to them last week. Was it Jose Aldo? Anyway, it was one of these, right. What happens, bro, is these guys are great fighters. They give a lot to the UFC. They're not who they used to be, but they're still probably better than 50 to 60% of the guys that's out there. So for these guys, it's just trying to stay relevant. Do these guys, because they've been in it so long, are they honest with themselves and know that, hey, maybe I can't get back to the championship, but I can make a few more good, credible fights to maybe, not only give me more money, but actually, help out with my legacy. Ortega's one of those guys. Condit's one of those guys. I'm interested to see the fight, bro, but, hey, at this point, we just want to see a good fight. We're not expecting much from Carlos Condit.
Exactly, and that's why it's the second fight on the card. It's not, up there near the main events or the co-feature. No, it's the second fight on the card, but I think it's going to be a sleeper. I think it's one of those.
Hey, and Max Holloway had lost 3 of his last 4 fights, bro, so that's another reason why we're not hounding, too. So, Max and 2 back-to-back losses to Volkanovski, they hurt.
Yeah, you ain't lying. All right, so I know this is going to create something, but this is our punch-counter-punch. There's no guarantee that Wilder will ever get another shot at the title. You for or against that one?
In my heart of hearts, I want to be against it, but I'm for it. I don't know. My dog, we've interviewed Wilder. We've had the pleasure of interviewing Wilder on this platform back when we first started. I'm a Wilder fan. I'm a fan of the story. I'm a fan of the perseverance. I'm a fan of everything. I think he just needs to get in the fight first and show he's still the guy that we thought he was, that he could still be. And I think if he does that, then I think the grumblings will stop. I think people don't feel like, one, that he can beat Fury for whatever, well, obviously for the last reason we just saw in the last fight. But also I think people look at the way he took the loss, his responses, the kind of way that he's never really come out to say, you know what, whatever it was that happened between me and that man in that ring, it's not an indication of who I am. I'm going to fight my way back into a rematch. I'm going to either I'm going to execute this court order to the letter of the law, or I'm going to just get a fight with maybe Dillian White or somebody that fight fans respect, knock him the F out, embarrass him, and then you got to be back into the conversation with Fury and Joshua. I think because of the loss and the way it's the whole circus around it, I think a lot of people just kind of written him off and only really see him competing in the top 2. We know that's not the case, but hey, we know that Joe Public and the minions behind the gates kind of patrol these fights. And until Wilder can drum up more fan support and give a reason for people to want to tune in and see him fight again, they're going to try to freeze him out, bro.
I wish I can argue with you on this one. I say, depending on what the court says, that's really going to tell going forward. If the courts give him his rematch, which it's amazing, you got to take it to the courts for the rematch. If the courts give him the rematch, then yes, he will get a shot at it. If the courts don't give him the rematch, then unfortunately we're going to have to agree on this one that he will never get another shot at the title, because Joshua didn't want to fight him in the beginning, and
now he has reason not to.
Right, and Fury obviously doesn't want to fight him now. So it's just the reality of the business. It's the ugly part of the business. But you're right. I don't see him getting another shot unless the courts give it to him. And there's no guarantee that they're going to give it to him.
And the more interesting part about that too, bro, that we're leaving out is they are working in earnest across the pond to try to make this Joshua Fury fight happen. What is interesting to me, though, is it almost sounds as if they seem to be Maybe they're just trying to get one particular fight done. They're not thinking about maybe this could be a trilogy. But you got guys like Joshua talking about retiring, Fury. I mean, it's just I want to feel like this is the fiasco and a circus that comes along with boxing. This is what we do to keep this sport alive, and it's wild, wild west kind of uncontrollable mentality the way boxing does business. But it just doesn't look good, man, at this point for Wilder. And even for Fury and Joshua, like I don't know, man. I'm Team Wilder. I wish Wilder could get back in there, but I gotta be realistic. These guys are not going to take that kind of risk if they don't have to. And I don't know who else Wilder's going to fight. Maybe Andy Ruiz, maybe Dillian White. There are a couple of names out there he could actually get in there with. And if he beats them convincingly, hey, guess what? Now there may be a clamoring, if not for Fury, at least for Joshua.
And I kind of feel like if he takes another fight, that voids his contract, his rematch clause.
Yeah.
I don't know the language on that, but I honestly feel like that if he takes another fight, that would be something that they could use to void his rematch clause. I would hope not, but we've seen stranger things in boxing. That's so sad to say, but we've seen stranger things in boxing because of something like that. So I really want to see him get his rematch, but I also think there's a part of me that believes they feel like the longer he stays out of the ring, the more unring worthy he will be. Even if he does get his rematch clause, if he's out of the ring 18 months before he gets his rematch clause, he won't be a good enough Deontay Wilder to really challenge Fury for that title. So, again, there are a lot of theories and speculations that go into this. Hopefully, we'll get to find out in reality what's going on. All right, big news from the WWE. The Raw WWE, I think it's the Universal Champion they called, or it might just be called the WWE Champion because they got two champions. Drew McIntyre has the coronavirus. And, yeah, they came out on social media this week talking about he's got the coronavirus. And you're like, okay, you were just in the ring with somebody. And you have a big pay-per-view coming up. And you had a match that was supposed to happen last Monday against Randy Orton for your title. And now we know why it didn't happen against Randy Orton, because you had the coronavirus. So they put him in immediate quarantine, and he's gonna be there till their pay-per-view, and which should be not this weekend but next weekend. It's gonna be very interesting, bro.
You know, I don't know a whole lot of the interworkings of these things as you do. I always defer to you when we get on these topics. But I do know one thing, that's Randy Orton. That name has been around for a very long time. He's a solidified star in the WWE. What I find interesting, though, is why weren't I just don't understand how this continues to happen when we have these scheduled events. It's one thing if wrestling was like the NBA and you just had back-to-back nights games. But when you have events staged weeks, months out, how does this happen?
Well, you look at Drew McIntyre, and I don't know if he's going back across the pond because he's from Scotland. I don't know if he's going to Scotland recently or not, because he's usually on every Monday Night Raw defending his title in some way, shape, or form. He was just on there 2 weeks ago, or last week, not this past month, but the Monday before, on Legends Night defending his title. And it's just one of those things that you look at and you go, okay, these wrestlers, men and women, and the techs are tested every time they come on the premises. But you don't know who somebody came in contact. This is why it's so crazy to keep competing, especially in full contact sports. Because you go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station,
You're taking a risk.
gloves on at the gas station, you grabbing a pump somebody had just had, you don't put anything on your hands afterwards. You're carrying that disease, and now they're talking about this new strain is even more even more sturdy than the original one. So you're putting yourself at harm's risk, and everybody that you come in contact with. And I don't think businesses large scale businesses like the WWE are taking this completely seriously. Now, anything you do in a contact sport, you're taking a risk. And I do applaud the WWE. They haven't had a lot of COVID or coronavirus cases. They shut down, but they did not stop operating. And this is what I go back to. I'm like, people have interaction every day. Unless you go from your house to the arena, back to your house, and everybody is doing the exact same thing, you have interaction with people who may or may not have the virus, and then you bring it to somebody else, knowingly or unknowingly, that may or may not have the virus. You can't control this thing, especially in for a combat sport like wrestling, because there's nothing you do that's not contacting someone else.
Yeah, and this is the new normal, bro. These are the ups and downs that we go through every week. I think that Vegas has a pretty good handle on this. When you look at the odds and the spreads and stuff, it's almost like they kind of know who's sick, who's going to be out. You see the odds and stuff fluctuate more frequently than they did before, which Vegas was always controlled, in control even then. But I mean, this is where we are now, bro. And I feel unfortunate for all these contact combat sports, bro. You're gonna listen. Wait until the Super Bowl, bro. Now, only good thing about the Super Bowl is they get a week before the game. But watch the headlines, watch the narratives, watch the whole orchestration that's spun around the virus. Who's got it? Who's quarantining? You think we get tired of pregame for the Super Bowl now? You're gonna have 3 or 4 days of full programming just about Corona. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of reached my Corona level of fatigue, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, now you can really expound upon how you feel because you got 2 minutes, and yeah, I said it. You're up.
I'm actually prepared today, which means it's probably wasn't gonna go well. I had a great topic I want to talk about, and it was Steve Sarkisian not being hired by the Houston Texans, his black wife, L'Oreal Smith, and the internet went nuts. It was like, oh man, Steve gonna fit right in there. Houston, you got a sister, blah, 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 blah. We ain't gonna talk about them. Talk about something a little more dear to my heart.
Oh.
Get a chance, watch the Netflix special, The Final Shot, about Tony Parker. You know what? Up until yesterday, I thought there was only one Michael Jordan. Comes to find there's a Michael Jordan from France that we knew nothing about. Tony Parker was a child prodigy, and I didn't know this as a lifelong Spurs fan. I should have known what Tony eats in the morning and what he poops out at night. And apparently I missed the fact this kid's been a phenom in France since he was 15 years old. He's been having this documentary follow him since he was a 15-year-old kid. A team comprised of him, Boris Diaw, Nicholas Batum, Ronnie Turioff, all these brothers in the league, their names you can't pronounce, they all come from France, and they're all part of Tony Parker tree. It was a great watch last night. It was an hour and a half, and you would think that Tony Parker, a la Spurs, will have a very boring documentary, but it was very interesting, bro. His childhood, his father, who was an American basketball player who only speaks French now, surprisingly, the hard work and ethic that he instilled in Tony and his three brothers. Tony wanted to be Michael Jordan. He documented it, wrote it down. All of his childhood goals, he met every one of them. Then he became the first French player drafted into the NBA, and then became a 5-time champ, 6-time All-Star, and the NBA Finals MVP.
Wait a minute. Where was his 5th championship from?
03, 05, 07. I'm sorry, 4-time. Tim is 5-time. I stand corrected. You're right, bro. 4-time champion, Finals MVP. Listen, Tony's going to the NBA Hall of Fame, but he's already the president of France. When you get a chance, check out the documentary. It's pretty dope, man. Go Spurs, go.
And he pulled Eva Longoria. I'm sorry. That's the 5th one right there. So, look, okay. It's an interesting scenario. Alabama won their 18th national championship Monday night. 18. That's a lot. But they won their 6th in the last 12 years. Now, let's start off by saying I am not an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. I'm not. But, just like I did with Greg Popovich, I give credit where credit's due. Just like I did with Phil Jackson, I give credit where credit's due. Bill Belichick, Red Auerbach, I give credit where credit is due. Joe Torre. We have Nick Saban, who's arguably now the greatest college football coach of all time. You can say it's a different era. You can say it's a different day. You can say all you want. But say 6 national championships in 12 years. That's one every other year. That's a 50% chance that if you go play for this man, you're going to win a national championship. Now, talk about the politics all you will, but you still got to win the games. He has 7 overall because he got 1 at LSU. He left, went to the Dolphins, floundered there for a couple years. Alabama brought their private plane into Miami, offered him a bucket of money with an endless stream. He goes to Alabama. He finally is able to draft or recruit kids out of Florida to compete with Florida's team speed, puts that with his intellect, with some creative offensive coordinators, and says, play, baby, just win. 6 national championships in 12 years. Facts.
Those are facts. And listen, the Spurs won 3 and 5 years, and they are having a hard time giving them credit for being a dynasty. But I'm all on board with this. Nick Saban deserves all the credit in the world. But you forgot where he did most of his recruiting from. You just left that completely out. The Alabama Pima system. Hey man, listen. Nick Saban has some grown ass men out there, boy. That championship against Notre Dame, that didn't even look real. I was like, bro, these are not college kids. Where is he getting these boys from? Straight off the same game. Straight off the same game. They was working for Alabama Department of Corrections last week. Now they fully enrolled here in Tuscaloosa. Hey, by any means necessary, whatever it takes.
What was that show by Scott Bakula? Necessary Roughness.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you.
Get it. So,
hey. And listen, that is a joke. I am joking. But what I'm simply saying is that those look like fully developed men versus Notre Dame's college kids. I will never forget that.
Yeah, they did. It looked like 2 different levels. It's like,
yeah,
whose high school team are they?
Yeah, for real.
But I give him credit, man. 7 total national championships. And he won the first one at LSU. I don't think he had a whole rung of superstars like he has at Alabama. But gritty, I remember when he coached at Michigan State. I take nothing from him. He's done it. He's done it. Shout out to Miss Anita Brown, Miss Samantha Clark. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Everybody else who joined us on the stream. Fighters Share Nation. I'm going to turn it over to my bro.
Hey, man, this is what we do, and I was on my behavior today. It's going to get worse tomorrow. Make sure you tap with us at 11 a.m., same bat time, same bat place. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Oh, you got something to say, but run out of time. What is it?
Raquel Miller. The pretty.
We don't know. Maybe, but y'all got to tune in tomorrow to find out. We'll see y'all, man. Peace and love. We out here.